You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you're joining from. And thank you for listening to this episode of CPA Review and More with your host, Phil Yeager. I'm your producer and director here at the Yeager Studios, Rob Medford, and together we are bringing you the #1 podcast for CPAs and CPA candidates. If you're new to the show, I'd like to be the first to thank you for checking us out. We're excited to have you as part of our listenership. If you're here because you've already heard our show and you're a continued listener, we thank you for the ongoing support. It's always greatly appreciated. If you're in the market for a CPA review course or simply want to know more about what Yeager CPA Review has to offer, check out our website at yeagercpareview.com or call our office and we'll answer any questions you might have. The link and telephone number will be in the description of this episode. Here at Team Yeager, we're excited to tell you about our new Yeager CPA Review subscription format. It's the same great Yeager CPA Review course that you know and love on an all-new, month-to-month, no long-term commitment subscription format. But without any further delay, I'm going to pass the microphone on over to your host, Phil Yeager.
Hello, everyone. This is Phil Yeager. And by the way, thank you for listening. We always appreciate that. And if you have any comments, please let us know. Katie Thomas. Katie graduated University of Kansas. What would you say, about 4 years ago?
I graduated from the University of Kansas with my master's in 2016. Wow, already losing track of time.
Let me look at your bio here and I will tell you. You graduated University of Kansas with your master's degree in 2016.
Yes.
I wasn't there, but I do remember that because I'm reading it. Now, anyway, Katie, I want to ask you a question. What made you decide to major in accounting? Is that what you wanted to do?
So I went to college and was one of those people who kind of knows what they want to do, but no idea what they want to major in. So I was always somebody growing up who I had all of these little businesses on the side. My first real professional job was in sales. I loved it. I loved cold calling people. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go into business, and I have no idea what type of business or what I'm even going to do with that, but I'm going to go into business. And so I started the business school, and my counselor at college said, maybe take accounting your first semester. That's, the language of business. So I took the first class, and I was like, I love accounting. And so many people are like, oh my gosh, I hate accounting. I don't even want to, this is what I'm doing to get, my marketing degree or whatever it may be. And not to diss marketing. I love marketing. So I was like, okay, well, this is fun. This is like solving puzzles and it comes pretty naturally. It's exciting to get to that answer. So that's why I went into accounting. And it's kind of funny because as I progressed down my career, I had no doubt that I picked the right major, that I loved the classes and that I was going to get my CPA. But I never foresaw myself working in accounting long. So I knew that it was very valuable to understand. I knew that it naturally clicked with my brain, but I actually did not foresee myself being, the traditional accountant. And a lot of people don't, I guess, understand then why I got an accounting degree. But I love accounting. So even though I don't directly work in it anymore, I did work in public. I don't regret it. I love accounting.
Who'd you work for in public?
I worked for Ernst & Young, and I did international tax, and I actually loved it. So, but it's still I'm sure we'll talk about other things I'm doing now. I just knew it wasn't for me forever.
Well, were you on the auditing staff at all at Ernst & Young?
No, I did an auditing internship with PwC. So I would not say I know much about auditing.
Did you like the auditing? And the internship, what did they have you do? Were you doing any auditing?
Well, all summer long, I did confirmations. So I would call people and ask them if they owned this fund and have them confirm a few personal details. So it was...
You really liked that, didn't you? You really enjoyed that?
The first few calls were fun. And then after a whole summer, I was ready to move on to something else.
Now, it doesn't sound like your type of work that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? I still got to like hear what the rest of the team was doing. So I feel like I saw some other parts of auditing. But yeah, ultimately I ended up in the tax.
And you enjoyed, what was international taxation? What did you do with that?
So we did a lot of restructurings in companies where they would hold subsidiaries in other companies, and we'd figure out how to essentially
Other countries or other companies?
they would hold other like subsidiary companies in other countries,
Okay.
and the whole, moving money to other countries and bringing it back over. How do you best do that and structure it in a way that you aren't being killed with tax? So it actually was really exciting. I loved the work. I loved the people there as far as that goes. But doing the actual tax returns, I don't know. I just wasn't excited about that, I guess.
Right. You didn't like doing tax returns, or?
No. Mm-mm.
Why not? What was wrong with doing tax returns?
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we all like different things.
Right. But what did you not like about doing tax returns?
So I did not like, honestly, the most frustrating thing was getting all the information from the people. Like, you're just waiting. And then they finally send it in, typically last minute. And then I was just kind of like, well, the biggest, most exciting piece to me was getting the information, and it seemed like it took forever. And then it was here, and it was just like a rush, and it just wasn't.
Do you not like doing detail work, or is that what you're saying? Or do you prefer, it sounds like you enjoy dealing with people one-on-one. Is that correct?
Yes, I love working with people. That's a great question. So I love detail work in a sense of really understanding something. And I think that was why I also loved accounting, where it was if you understand it, you will be right a lot of the time. There's a right answer. So I do like those type of details. But I like more human interaction, more working with people and collaborating. And that was a lot of the international tax, because we had to pull people from all these different countries to work with. It wasn't just, working on a computer. And I think some people function super well in a way that's here's my work, I'm going to crank out my work. I like to, go out and meet people and talk to different people and really have that, interaction. So I'd say it's human interaction.
Yeah, you see, a lot of time, the AICPA still has sort of an image problem, and they need people like you to go. I know you probably don't want to do this, but, well, I think you would. You're a volunteer type. But they want people to really talk about the profession, that the image is not one that we just sit and do bookkeeping work.
Right.
Because a lot of these, I think you have to go to the high schools first. And I think the students in the high schools think that accounting is bookkeeping, where they don't understand it's more than that, like you just said,
Exactly.
that you meet people, talk to people,
Exactly.
and solve their problems in many respects. That's what you do with your consulting, right?
Yes, exactly. So in my current consulting business, we help firms become more efficient. And how we do this is we streamline their processes, we integrate technology, we implement new technology. And that integration of technology, it can be with legacy technology, new technology, or a combination of both. So it's super interactive. It's interviewing from partners down to the staff to see, what they're currently doing, what they're frustrated by, what's really taking up their time and what they enjoy, so that they can, focus more on what they enjoy rather than, waiting for Susan to send her documents in for 10 days and sending her 10 emails every day. That's just taking up your mental space. You only have so much of it each day, so much emotional energy. It's okay, you need to spend that on what you like. And so,
I want to just go back a little ways, because a lot of people want to know, you're a CPA. They want to know, what do you have to do to pass the CPA exam? And what was your approach to taking the CPA exam and passing it? What did you do? I mean, can you tell people, did you give up certain things, or?
So if I commit to something, I'm one of those all in or all out, which is good and bad. But I was all right, I'm going to do it. I did it, took the first one in April. I took the second one in May. June, I took off, and then I did July and August. So pretty much one a month. And I had school for the first two, and was also working about 15 hours a week. But it was like I just studied. Any like chance I got, I studied, and I probably overstudied looking back on it, honestly, because you don't need to do that well to pass. You just need a 75.
Right.
But I did not, I guess, say, okay, I know 75% of this material, I'm good. It's like, I want to know 100 and go in and be confident, because I don't know how to do something like halfway or 75%. So yes, I did give up some things, telling family and friends on weekends, like, hey, I'm not going to stay up late because I want to wake up and study. Like, I don't want to do this again. And that to me was the hardest thing for sure, because I didn't want to disappoint people and, not be like, I didn't want them to feel like I was putting something above them. But I guess sometimes you do have to, prioritize different things in life. Yeah.
You do. You certainly do. You can't do the same things you were doing before while you're studying. And once you pass, you can go back to your normal life, whatever that may be.
It's temporary. And to me, the temporary to give up and, not be fun on the weekends, if that's what you want to call it, and be social, it was so worth it, because it was just get it done, crank it out, and then it's in your past. And I think having your CPA license, while you definitely don't need it to succeed, it totally shows your commitment to the profession. And I think also to your clients that you're dedicated to, really understanding what it takes to become a CPA, understanding accounting. And as we move into this more virtual space of a lot of people offering their services just online, while again, I don't think it's necessary, I think it's so critical for when you're just starting out to establish some trust without someone even knowing you. It's like, hey, I'm a CPA, I did this. And so it's like, okay, it does provide some trust up front for sure.
Now, you were a 4.0 student in college?
Yep. See, I can't have to do anything. I missed.
Now, how did you, but that's what I'm saying. How did you're taking the CPA exam. You only need a 75 on each part. All right. Did you go in there taking the exam with the intent that you had to get in the 90s?
No. I missed that Elijah, is it? I don't know. The one
Elijah Watts.
95.5, something like that. I averaged a 94.5. So I missed it barely. But no, I didn't. And I didn't,
Actually, your career is over if you didn't get that Elijah Watts award.
I was frustrated though.
No,
the last test.
Why are you frustrated?
I did not go into it at all wanting that. I literally just wanted to pass. And honestly, after all the exams, I never even thought I necessarily did that great. So I walked out of there being like, yeah, I knew, some stuff. I don't know how well it went. And so I don't think anyone ever walks out of the test feeling like, oh my gosh, that was great. You always feel defeated.
Did you walk out and think you failed?
Not failed, probably not, but I still didn't know, because they have those test questions in there. And I think those were really I started doubting myself, because I was just I'm not familiar with this. So I always had the feeling what if I didn't feel like I got a 0, but it's what if I got a 70 or a 6? Yeah.
And you end up with 90s. That's amazing, Did that shock you? Did that shock you?
Did it what? Shock me?
It must have shocked you. Your scores over when you came out, you had no idea.
Yeah. I was always oh, wow. I was very surprised. But there were also, again, I was just it's also luck of the draw what questions you get. So I didn't try to attach that score to the next test or put it on myself to compete with that score. Because it's hey, I could have gotten, my friend's test and gotten a way lower score. So I wouldn't try to attach my ego to my score, if that makes sense.
No. Explain what you just meant by that. Hold on one second. I should have taken this off. People love to call me. Okay. Sorry about that. I meant to take that off. I'm sorry. Repeat what you just said. I'm sorry. What did you just...
I didn't attach my ego or my self-worth to my score, because the questions I got, they were luck of the draw. I could have gotten a totally different set of questions and totally bombed them. So I didn't think that I was doing better than someone who say got a 50, because maybe if they got my test, they would have gotten in the 90s.
Yes and no. I think you're selling yourself short, really. You had very good grades. in both your undergraduate and your master's program. And, you didn't go to it. You went to a very good school, University of Kansas. So I think you were selling yourself short. But the AICPA wants people to go into that exam, this is my opinion, and come out and say, oh, it's so hard, I don't know if I passed, because they want you to send that message out to everyone so they're not going to come into the exam and think it's just so easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it.
Right.
Yeah. And I think what the thing is with the CPA exam, how some people approach it, maybe that struggle a little bit with it. Because I actually did CPA tutoring after I took my CPA, like one-on-one.
Really?
Yes. Because I actually kind of like taking the test. I'm weird, but they go into it with the thought they can just memorize everything. And there is some memorization. It's definitely important, especially for like audit. There's multiple choice. But if they aren't understanding the question, like really understanding the why their answer is right, and they're just memorizing those answers, doing, your review, a Becker review, then they will not be successful, in my opinion. It's like you need to look at that answer and not just know the answer, but be able to explain why that answer is right.
Most definitely. You have to understand what the concepts are about.
Yeah. And if you're not digging into why the questions, you might be like, okay, I know this answer, move. It's like, no, you have to know why it's right. And then you'll be great.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Now, let's talk about it. You got the CPA. And did you go to work for a company? I didn't really look at this closely. Did you go to work for someone?
Yeah.
Okay. And who did you work for? Once you had the CPA, who'd you work for?
Work for Ernst & Young.
Okay. That's Ernst & Young?
Yeah.
And you were there how long?
About 2 years. So not the longest. Like I said, I enjoyed a lot of the work, but I asked them if I could have a sales job, actually. They're like, why are you leaving? You're doing a great job for us. We're putting you on wonderful projects. And I guess I felt almost a little bratty because it was like everyone would want this position. Like you're getting amazing projects. You're working with great people. And I just had to be honest with them. I was like, I appreciate this so much, but like my heart is more into working with people. And I asked them for a sales job. And they're like, well, I can't really do that, at this.
Yeah, what would you exactly sell?
They said you need to be a partner, or, at least a manager / senior manager.
No. I said, you said to them you'd like to do sales, marketing. What would you have done for that firm in the area?
I would go out and even just I guess it's more like PR, like keeping the relationships with the clients, trying to understand like what's going on in our market. Even like I honestly am confident I could have gone out and got them new projects. And if that's like where your heart is at, it doesn't make sense to be like, oh, I hate public accounting and stuff. It's like you accepted a role that didn't fit what you want. So I'm never going to diss on public accounting. I think it's great.
But your area is really, you would have liked to have done sales marketing, which actually probably got into because you started your own company. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So was that after you left Ernst & Young?
So it was right away.
Oh.
So how I got involved into the technology, the process consulting is while I was at EY, I saw people having a ton of challenges with and stuff just being very manual. Like I could take an Excel sheet and transform what they were doing manually. And I was like, okay, if I'm like able to do this at a big company. And I saw my husband, he was automating pharmaceutical manufacturing companies, essentially just transferring data to create triggers between, okay, when we get this information, this should happen. And I had a hypothesis that the same thing was needed in accounting firms, and especially smaller ones. So when I quit, I was like, all right, I have a CPA. I have this hypothesis. If it doesn't work, if, the market doesn't say, hey, we need some process and some technology consulting and some automation help, then I'll figure it out. You can't lose with a CPA. But that's it. The market really took to it. I couldn't find at first anyone offering those services. Now I've found some, definitely in Australia. There's a few people offering the similar services, but yeah, that's how I got started in it.
And tell me what you do now. You started practice. How many people are working for you now?
So I have one full-time and a few part-time.
All right. And what is your function in the firm? What do you do?
So I wear a lot, since it's a small company,
right. You have to
I wear
hats.
a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I can go pretty much into any role, but mostly the marketing and the sales and the relationships. I do all of that. I do my own accounting. But as far as like the very technical details, I like to understand everything, but I don't even know how to code. I don't want to. So that's all going to be in the engineer's hand.
So you're going out to a client and you're trying to get them for your firm. What are you trying to sell them at? What services are you trying to tell them you have?
So it is a total app jungle out there. I am not sure like if you've looked at it at all. And so what we're trying to sell them is either, hey, are you looking at becoming a firm of the future? Do you just want some consulting on where you can improve your current tech stack? We'll evaluate what you're currently doing and give you some suggestions for improving it, for filling some errors or some areas that we see you being very inefficient. Or we can come in and actually implement these technologies, come and do it all for you. We're not just going to suggest it. We're going to come in and actually do it. Or we will do those two things and also train you and your staff in ongoing consulting for you. And
well, what are you training? What's your technology that you're telling them that you could provide for them? Or
sure,
be more specific as far as what you're providing.
Okay, so as far as technology goes, we don't own any technology. We work with a variety of providers, but we are software agnostic, because what works in one firm might not work in another, because they might say, hey, I want to keep this piece of software. And so we have to find something that's essentially talks that piece of software.
Okay.
And what we're doing, just high level, you could think about, all right, I've got a prospect. They're coming to me because they might want a tax return. And I speak with them on the phone and they say, let's move forward. I want you to do my taxes. How do we send them an engagement letter that they can e-sign? As soon as they sign it, set up billing automatically. How do we automatically send them an information request that can remind them to send me those documents? How do we automatically assign and route tasks? How do we have that tracker if I'm a partner to say, okay, I know that these things are due, these things are past due. Oh, sorry about that. How do I see everything on a high level without me just sitting there following up with people, reminding Jimmy and asking him, have you done this? I need to see everything.
So you're trying to set up these systems within the companies?
Yeah, we set them all up. And what types of software we're using, we definitely have some that we prefer to use. But again, we can't always use them because if someone says, I want to use this piece of software and my favorite doesn't integrate with it, and they're like, I want these softwares to talk, then I can't say, oh, you have to change the software you want to keep. Like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do.
If you go into a company and obviously to have an experienced bookkeeper who knows debits and credits, and they want an accounting system, you're going to give them what type of accounting system? A more sophisticated one?
So we actually go to the accounting firm.
Oh, the accounting firms. Okay.
We actually work with the firms and a lot of the practice management that we can really enhance. There is definitely accounting stuff that we can do, from OCR to bill pay, those kind of functions that we can improve. But the practice management is where there's so much room to help them. And also setting up marketing systems. A lot of accountants today don't have, lead magnets and funnels and want to run ads. So that's a great area to say, hey, it's actually just a process and we can put it all in place for you. And you can let us run it or we can teach you how to run it.
Do you also tell them how to market their practices?
So as far as like being a marketing coach, no. But if it's talking about setting up ads, funnels, lead magnets, we do all of that.
All right. So you go into a CPA firm.
Yes.
I guess you deal with smaller firms or?
Yeah. So we've helped a firm that has over 100 employees. And we've also helped ones that are just one. But like that 15 to 30 person is awesome.
All right. So they want you to come in to set up what for them exactly? So
it could be a variety of things, but a lot of times it's practice management or marketing. So maybe they are tired of having to send an Adobe PDF and, have their client or, type up an engagement letter in Word, PDF it, send it to their client, have their client sign it, mail it back. It's like, hey, I just want this where I can just, fill in a few fields, send it, they can sign it, and bills will automatically be set up. They'll automatically be invoiced, and this credit card will be charged. Things like that, they save them so much time. And with this example specifically, you're never going to have outstanding accounts receivable.
Now, are there existing systems that do this, or do you have to create them?
There are existing coexisting. So there's disparate applications, and we go in and make those disparate applications talk so that when one thing happens, it triggers another one automatically.
So you have to be familiar with a lot of different software programs.
Exactly. We get in the app jungle for you and figure out what plays well together.
And I'm just curious, how do you build these people? You go in and I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you have, when you first went in, did people say, well, gee, I mean, I got this. When I was very young, I looked very young. In fact, when I was your age, I looked like a baby. Anyway, and I still look like a baby. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, moving on. Would you say they look at you and say, she's awfully young? Does she have that experience? I mean, have you run into that?
Of course I have. But also on the flip side, there's some people that appreciate that I'm young because I grew up around using technology a lot more, and it does be natural. But of course, I think too, if I were older, I would get the same, well, you're too old, how do you know technology? So it's being confident in your offering. And like my full-time engineer, he is extremely talented. So, and also I'm always honest. If it's like, hey, I don't know a solution, or I'm going to have to research that, I'm never going to lie. So I think, maintaining your brand and your integrity, at the end of the day, if you have that and someone says you're too young, it doesn't pierce you really.
Well, you got to be honest, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's better to tell someone you don't know something. If you tell someone you don't know something, do you just drop it? Or do you say, I don't know it, but I'll get you an answer?
Yeah, I don't know it. Let me look into that. I'll get back to you on it. And I'm sure that they tell their clients the same thing. It's, you don't know it. No one knows everything.
No, and they shouldn't do something. I mean, we know CPAs should not be doing work that they really don't know what they're doing. It's going to end up causing them real problems down the road.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's when you get into the liability issues. Now, right?
Exactly.
How do you get your clients? I'm just curious. How do you get your clients?
So I gotten most of them through LinkedIn. That's where I really built my business. Now I have referrals, which is super nice. If you have a referral coming to you, that's a lot easier to convert than a cold lead for sure. But it all came from social media is how it started. And I don't even run ads. So I set up ads for other people, but I've been able to do it all without ads, which is amazing and tells you the value of social media and also the value of what accountants can do with the internet and connecting with other accountants or business owners, whatever it may be. It's like, if you're an accountant, you can go out and do so many things today because of the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you show them how they can get clients with the LinkedIn. Do you do that at all?
Yeah, so now I actually am, so many people have reached out to me about that, like, how'd you do it? That we've helped some people individually one-on-one, but now I'm going to start running webinars because I want to make that information available to more people. And if it's not one-on-one, it can definitely be distributed at a lot lower cost.
No, I think it's a great idea. Webinars, if you thought about doing a podcast.
I've thought about it. Definitely thought about it. But I'm one of those people, like I said at the beginning of the show, if I'm doing something, it's like I am all in. And so I want to make sure once I start it, I'm very committed to it.
Now, what about cloud accounting? Do you get involved in that?
Oh yeah, that's where we're at, is all in the cloud, getting people off desktop, making it so they can work from anywhere with anyone, whether that's employees, client. That's the place we play in. If you're wanting to stay not in the cloud on desktop, then that's honestly a conversation where it's probably not a good fit. Because that's where I see everything going. And, if I'm going to work with a firm, I need to align with their vision so that, we're supporting each other and work together.
When you tell a prospective client that you are going to take their information and put it in the cloud, do they all understand what that means?
That's a great question. I don't know initially. If they do, we always talk about security, and that is part of us with integrating these applications. They all have to have bank level encryption, and we ensure that we're following the best security protocols. But you definitely, the ones asking about security are, not to stereotype, but commonly older and more concerned about security, whereas millennials are a lot, I don't want to say less concerned, because maybe they've, researched it themselves, but they don't seem to bring that up as a concern as much.
Because when I first heard the word the cloud, I looked up in the sky and I'm saying, gee, they put that data up in the sky, and what happens if it's overcast that day? Can you see your data? I mean, that's what I thought of with a cloud. But did you ever deal with, we had Jodi Pitar. Is that correct, Rob? Am I pronouncing it?
Jodi Pitar.
Yeah.
Jodi, if Jodi's listening to this, I am sorry. I mispronounced your name, Jodi. I apologize. Go ahead.
I don't know her personally. I never met her in person, but I, of course, know of her, and she's very influential in our industry, especially in the technology space. BotKeeper, that's something that's up and coming, so I really respect her, but I do not know her personally.
We had her on one of our first shows.
Oh, neat. That's neat.
Yeah, and we were laughing so much, but we actually discussed a lot of, information that was helpful to people. What do you think, Rob? Were they helpful? Did we get any response on that?
We didn't get much of a response, but I did think that based on the traction we got from the show, that it definitely drew interest.
And I mean, it's amazing. She's just she has so much charisma, and I believe she's doing very well with those bots. Now, are you getting into artificial intelligence at all with your practice?
Yes. So some of the software we recommend does use AI.
Such as, can you mention a name of the software?
So we don't use like a BotKeeper type software yet. I haven't worked with any firms that currently use BotKeeper, but AI is being used to automatically, a perfect example is like guess, you upload a bank statement and it's going to guess that this is a credit card payment. That's a very basic level example. So a lot of people are using AI all the time, but they just don't necessarily recognize that they are.
How did you learn all this? They don't teach this in college, do they? How did you learn all this technology and, information you're talking about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for one, I started researching this a lot whenever I got the idea that, maybe this would be something that I could implement into accounting firms, so heavily researching it. But it also really, really helped being married to an automation engineer. So I was just immersed immediately into technology. And whenever you focus all of your time on something, you can become a master at it. I think it's like 10,000 hours is what they say to become a master. So if that's where all your focus is, and that's kind of like taking the CPA exam, if that's what you're focusing on, you can learn a lot so quickly if you just immerse yourself in it in every way possible.
Your husband is what, a software engineer? What's his area? Software, I got that, software engineer?
Yeah.
And does he have his own business or he works for someone?
He currently works for someone. He also helps me with my business, which I could not, I don't think I could have done it without him, to be honest, because especially when I got started, there was just a lot of holes to fill. I mean, I'm not an engineer. I know what the problems are, and especially just going out and interviewing accounting firms, listening to their problems, they were very, very repetitive. So we could see a ton of trends, but without him initially to say like, hey, here's what I'm hearing, here's kind of what I'm thinking, but not having anyone to like bounce ideas off of or really understand technology further than I was able to, especially at the time. I don't know if I don't want to say I couldn't do it, because I think you can do anything you put your mind to, but I don't think I could have done it as quickly. I know I could.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, if you didn't have a husband or a spouse who's a software engineer, all right, which most people don't have, how would they learn all of this to become consultants in technology? I think you answered it would be very difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be a lot more difficult. And he's actually an automation engineer, which they deal with a lot of softwares. But yeah, I just want to make that distinction in case anyone's like, that's not right. It would be a lot more difficult. I think you would have to, go reach out to someone, partner with someone. I'm all about collaboration. So I don't think anyone knows everything, but together you can know a lot.
No, you definitely have an advantage there. I think that's
totally.
Yeah, very helpful. Where do you want your practice to go? I mean, where do you see the practice going in the next few years?
That's a wonderful question. So definitely doing what we are now. As far as my role, I could see it moving into more speaking engagements. I've gotten asked to speak now quite a bit. education. Just, I want to keep providing as much information even just through social media for free. And I really think that, over the next 5 years, we're going to see even more shifts, not only to the cloud, but from people at public or, in some sort of corporate position, recognizing like, hey, you know what, there are a ton of tools out there to support me if I do want to go out and start my own business. There's so much support from technology, especially if you have the right system in place, that you don't even need really much to start other than a computer and a little bit in savings. You can get going really fast and have your own little firm that does very well for yourself.
Yeah, they don't teach, from what I see, they don't teach enough courses in the technology that you really are consulting in at the college level. So, I don't know if that's true or not. I graduated a while ago, but you didn't get a lot of
No,
from college?
No, not at all. It was pretty much all self-education in my own time.
So did they ever talk, I don't know if you can answer this, but did they ever talk about this at the college level, that they have to start offering these things? Do people request that they want to know this information like artificial intelligence, cloud accounting, and they're not getting it at the college level, all right?
Yeah, they didn't talk about it at all when I was in college. I know that at EY, they always would be talking about AI, blockchain, robotic process automation, and they would say it's coming, but they never were educating us on what it is. So, I would hear those terms and be like, all right, I'm going to go look this up myself and start like seeing how it's applicable. But even in those larger firms, it wasn't there. So I don't know. I'm not there now, so I can't say like what they're doing now, and I can't say what they're in school, but that's a great question.
Yeah, I know the firms are doing a lot more consulting now. So I wonder, what are they doing? Are they training people, or are they bringing in people who already have the training? I would think they would bring in the people who already have the training in those areas.
Right, and then probably training, I'm hopeful, training others, underneath them. But there's a ton of changes coming to the profession. It's already here. And I really think that, while some people are scared of the technology, it's super exciting whenever you're involved with it and you see like what you can now get done that you don't have to do manually. And then where, especially if you're looking to have more engaging relationships, like that is so supported now with technology, which I think is incredible because people love connecting with others.
Do you go into the firms and show them how you can save them money? Do you show them something tangible like that?
Yeah, money, time, and then something you can't quantify, which I actually think is the biggest, and always like what we hear is just their emotional sanity. Like they can go to bed at night and look at, a dashboard to say, okay, here's how much we've collected. We don't really have any outstanding receivables. Here's where everything's at. Here's what's overdue. Here's what's upcoming. Here's what's currently due. Just to have that all in one place is like, okay, I can breathe. I can go to bed.
No, I look at you and you're young. And I think it's amazing what you've accomplished in your life at this point. I can't imagine what's going to be coming, Do you think about that? It must be exciting to you, thinking, hey, this is what I've achieved now. All right, what's to come in the future? I would think that was something that your mind is on. And also, you said you want to do consulting. You want to give talks, that type of thing. That means you're going to have to add people to your firm, won't you? To give you that time to go out and do that?
Yeah. If we are going to keep growing and having as big of a client base, then yes, absolutely. So I don't know much about hiring people, I only have one full-time person, but that's probably the biggest thing I've learned throughout life is you're always learning. And if you approach something with, okay, a lot of other people have done it, I can too, then that's how I guess I've never been scared, like even taking the CPA exam. It's like so many people have done this before me, so I can figure it out too, right? Why not?
Where is your office? In Kansas, right?
So I recently moved to Reno, Nevada.
Oh, you're in Nevada? Okay.
Yes. And to work with a software company that's a startup. So right now I'm actually at home right now, but they have an office in Reno that I go into a lot too.
So are you working for the software company or are you on your own?
Both. Yep.
So how many hours do you have to work for the software company versus how much time you can actually give to your own practice, your own firm?
So since my firm is totally virtual, I can really just balance them both.
How'd you get that job in the software company? Did they want a CPA? how'd you get in there? I guess that's my question.
So as I was working with softwares and putting them in firms, actually a lot of software companies started trying to recruit me, ask for like market feedback on, like what can we build to make this product more usable, more useful. And this was a startup. They're dealing with blockchain technology. They have multiple softwares. And so I was really fascinated, with their product and, where it might fit into a market. Right now it's a baby software that we're still trying to, work out some kinks with, but I'm there providing market feedback, doing market research for them, trying to get people to use this new software to, get also tangible feedback from the users of what they actually need rather than, okay, here's what the company wants to build. It's like, is that reasonable to build?
Did they find you on LinkedIn also?
Yep. LinkedIn.
That's a great thing, isn't it? I mean,
it's crazy.
I don't think people realize how great that whole LinkedIn thing is.
It's crazy. It is totally crazy. I mean, I didn't start using it till maybe a year ago. Because I thought, okay, if I start posting content, then people are going to think I'm self-centered, I'm egotistical, full of myself. And then I was like, no, it's my ego keeping me from preventing it because I'm scared to not, get likes, to get made fun of. That's like what held me back. So you can do a lot with LinkedIn really fast.
Yeah. Well, Katie, I really wish you the best of luck in the future. I'm sure you're going to do very, very well. You're bright. Excuse me. I get all choked up with this last minute thing. I'm sure you're going to do very well in the future. And it sounds exciting. It really is. So just keep going out there. And as we say, give them, I don't want to use the word hell. Give them hell. That's what you got to do. And so isn't Reno, but one last thing. Reno, is that a small town? They say it's the smallest. What's the expression they use on Reno?
The smallest big little city, I think.
Yeah. Is it a big city?
No, it's not big, but I actually had no idea like what Reno even was till I came out here before I moved to do some consulting. It is beautiful. We're right by Tahoe, 25-30-minute drive. There's mountains. It's dry, so no humidity. I shouldn't be saying this because I don't want more people to come, but it's not crowded. It's beautiful.
Well, that was I lived in Colorado for 6 years. Mm-hmm. And they said, don't tell anybody. It's dry here, blue skies. And then I came back to the East Coast and we're back to the heat and humidity. Oof.
Well, Phil, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm moving to Virginia Beach. It's 91, no humidity, and my Verizon LTE speeds are faster than your home Wi-Fi.
That's certainly one of the things I was thinking about, Rob, and I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Anyway, Virginia Beach is humid. I love these people that say, it's dry here, it's not humid. Virginia Beach is, I thought, humid, but that has nothing to do with this podcast.
It's very beautiful here right now.
All right, well, have a nice time, Rob.
It might just be the 3 days that I'm going to be here.
Okay, thank you. Rob actually gets paid from the state of Virginia for pushing Virginia Beach, but I'm just kidding on that.
I will.
Anyway, Katie, thank you very much and take care. And by the way, do you want to do a sort of a few-minute advertisement about yourself? You never know what's going to happen from this podcast. Do you want to do that? You want to tell them what you are and what services you could perform for them? Are you interested in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Do you want a drum roll? No, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. You're on, Katie.
So if you're a CPA firm, an accounting firm, or a bookkeeper looking to become more efficient, streamline your processes, integrate existing technology or new technology, I would love to help you. We offer, a free discovery call. So you can find me on all social media platforms. Katie Thomas CPA is my username, or you can email me, katie@katiethomascpa.com. I would love to speak with you and hopefully work with you.
Sounds good. You could do a commercial for us anytime.
Once again, I'd like to thank you for being the best part of CPA Review and More with your host, Phil Yeager. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to hear on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show to share your story, we want to hear from you. Send me an email to the studio at podcast@YeagerCPAReview.com. If you're enjoying the content that we're providing, we'd greatly appreciate it if you'd submit a review to the Apple iTunes podcast app to let us know how we're doing. If you're in the market for a CPA review course or simply want to find out more about the CPA exam and what Yeager has to offer, check out YeagerCPAReview.com or call our office and we'll answer any questions you may have. The link and the phone number will be in the description of this podcast. Here at Team Jaeger, we're excited to tell you about our new Jaeger CPA Review subscription format. It's the same great Jaeger CPA Review course that you know and love on an all-new month-to-month, no-commitment subscription format. Check it out today. Once again, my name's Rob Medford. I'm your executive producer and director here at the Jaeger Studios. And until next time, take care and be audit you can be.